Hey guys, so I went on a really long bike ride today and I got pretty hungry, so I wanted something really hearty for dinner and decided on making chopped cheese sandwiches. Now, up until a few weeks ago, honestly, I'd never even heard of a chopped cheese, and basically it's just a sandwich with ground beef. Usually, onions are cooked into the meat, and then you melt in cheese, usually American, into the beef while it's cooking. Slap it into a hoagie roll with some mayo, usually lettuce and tomato. I used some banana peppers here in this one because I didn't have any lettuce and tomato. And that's about it. Some people might not like me saying this, but it's kind of like a Philly steak, but with hamburger meat instead of shaved steak. Anyways, here I'm making food for 5 people. I use a little over 2 pounds of meat, making sure to get plenty of salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic powder in there. Again, it's a lot of meat. Plus, I added one medium onion and a half a pound of sliced American cheese. So always season your meat before you cook, and then before you serve, make sure you taste it and season it again. Now, when I'm cooking in my cast iron, I usually add something like ground beef when the heat is still pretty low, and then I turn it up a little bit. That way, the fat starts to render out a little bit, and it gives it its own kind of lubrication, its own grease to cook it. You don't have to worry about adding any kind of grease to this pan. So I use one medium onion, yellow onion, sweet onion, whatever you want to call it, and I just take it to like a medium dice and add it right to the pan once I've got a little bit of that fat rendered out of the beef. If you wanted to, you could probably add some bell pepper or spice it up with a jalapeno or two at this point, but I got kids. I stuck with the onion. Do you want a beer? Of course, ice cold beer always goes great with just about any sandwich. Now you can see here the meat is starting to brown up a little bit. Some juices, some fat coming out of there. It's starting to cook pretty good now. This is about where you want to go ahead and add your onions.
Oh.
Hey Maya, look at this chocolate cake bread I'm gonna make.
Make sure you get a little more salt on those onions. Keep everybody tasting like
Oh, and then I
themselves.
find chocolate espresso muffins. Man, once you find like something good on Pinterest, it feels like so much other good stuff that didn't do that. Like,
Now you're going to want to cook this down with the onions, stirring it occasionally. I don't know, until they start to get translucent and they start to break down just a little bit. You don't want the onions to brown. You don't want the heat too high, but you don't want them stewing there either. You want it to sizzle a little bit. In the meantime, you can take your bread. I use hoagie rolls here and slice them open, get them ready for the meat, the stuffing, the filling. You can slice them open, get them ready for the filling, and pop them in the oven. Get them nice and toasty.
milk, olive oil, and chocolate chips.
for that meat to finish cooking with the onions. It's a great time to get your buns ready to go in the oven. You can't have a chopped cheese sandwich without a toasted bun. And I'm just using a regular hoagie roll from the bakery of my Publix. If you don't have Publix, I don't know, wherever else you people go, sorry.
You needed a potsy?
All right, this beef was a little bit fatty. I think it was like 80-20 or 85-15, so I had a bit of grease to drain off. This probably isn't the best way to do it, but it's the way I did it. Your mileage may vary with that. If I use something like a 90-10 or a 93-7, then I probably wouldn't have any grease to drain off, honestly. Would have cooked into the onions. So now that I drained off my grease, my onions are cooked down, my beef is cooked and browned. I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese in. Again, this is American cheese. I got it sliced fresh in the deli. This is a half a pound I'm using here. I'm just going to add a little bit of water in here. I don't know, a couple tablespoons. And that's going to just make a little bit of steam, and it's going to help that cheese melt a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and stir it into the meat. American cheese works the best for this because it melts nice and creamy, doesn't get stringy. If you use something like provolone, it'll melt nice, but when you go to take a bite, you'll get that nice cheese stretch. Some people like that. You just go ahead and get that cheese incorporated into that meat. At this point, you can go ahead and turn off the heat, take it off the burner, let everything kind of just marinate in there. Now, like I said before, my toppings I'm using today, some banana peppers, some Duke's mayo. If it's not Duke's, it's not mayo. Get it out of here. I don't want it.
The garlic does not move. Really nice.
It's always important. Go ahead and taste it for seasoning. And it's usually going to need a little more. Pro tip, you see that beef fat sitting in the back burner there. I'm going to throw that in the fridge. Save that. Perfect for frying up some onions or some potatoes.
Mmm. Look at that chopped cheese.
All right, I had these in the oven, 400 degrees, till they're nice and toasty, crispy, ready to tear up the roof of your mouth. Now you're ready to make your sandwich.
Chopped cheese.
Open her up, mayo first. Again, Duke's only, please. A little chopped cheese. Remember, I said I was hungry. Throw some banana peppers on there. Oh, gotta have somewhere to put it. Anyways, that's about it. Cut her up. Chow down. I didn't even make a side dish with this. We just had a bunch of watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew. Come on, Dukes. I'm talking to you up. You make me look bad. Why you play me like that? Anyways, thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.